Secretarios Generales de la OTAN, William Claes, Zapatero,
former Secretary Generals William Claes, George
Rasmussen,
Robertson,
ministros, ministras,
Anders
alcalde de Madrid, embajadores permanentes
ministers, Mayor of Madrid, permanent representatives
en
to
España,
NATO,
autoridades,
heads of
señoras y
mission
señores,
in Spain, ladies
hoy
and
estamos
gentlemen.
celebrando y recordando una
Today
fecha
we
muy
are
especial
commemorating
para nuestro
a
país.
very special date
El 30 de
for
mayo de
Spain. On May
1982,
30th,
España
1982,
se convertía
Spain became
en el miembro número
the
16 de la
30th
Organización del
member
Tratado del
of
Atlántico Norte.
the
Cumplimos en consecuencia
the 16th
40
member
años de
of
alianza
the North
con un
Atlantic
grupo
Treaty
de países que
Organization.
comparten esa forma de
And
estar en el mundo
we
que llamamos
began
democracia.
to share
Sociedades-
our world with like-minded
sociedades que hemos
countries
elegido gobernarnos desde la
that
libertad,
share a
desde
way
la
of living
justicia,
in the world
la igualdad y el
with
pluralismo
democracy,
político.
societies that have
Esta
chosen to
pertenencia
govern
cumple
ourselves
una
with
misión
liberty and
trascendental,
justice,
sobre todo
equality
en
and
estas
political
fechas.
pluralism.
Nos
This
permite ser lo que
belonging,
somos.
this sense of
Y
belonging
además
fulfills a
garantiza
mission of far-reaching importance.
seremos lo que
It
España
allows
decida
us
ser.
to be what we are.
Porque no
And
hablamos
it
solamente de una
guarantees
alianza militar,
that Spain will
con ser
be
esto
whatever it wants to be.
evidentemente importante,
Because we're not only
sino
speaking of a
de una
military
alianza entre
alliance,
países
which is
en
of course
defensa de los
important, but
principios que
a front
originan
that
la
is
prosperidad
united in its
y el
defense
bienestar de nuestros
of the
pueblos.
principles that are the source
Para
of
todos
our
nosotros, aquella
prosperity and the
adhesión
well-being of our
supuso
peoples.
mucho más
For us,
que un trámite
that accession
multilateral.
meant much
España
more than
comenzaba entonces
than
una
merely
nueva andadura,
multilateral
y también yo diría
bureaucracy.
exitosa,
Spain
tras décadas de oscuridad y de
embarked on a
bloqueo
new and
como
successful
consecuencia de la
journey
dictadura franquista.
after decades
Y
of
lo hacíamos
darkness and
entonces
isolation
llenos de
because
esperanza,
of
de fuerza,
Franco's
pero
dictatorship.
también, lógicamente,
And
con
we did it
incertidumbres
full of
que muchas
strength,
cosas,
hope,
nacían
but
de
also
inercias
with
y temores
uncertainties
provenientes de nuestro
of many
pasado más
things that
reciente.
came from our nearest
La
past,
incorporación que
inertia,
celebramos
fears.
debió en buena medida
This
al esfuerzo
accession
conjunto del entonces presidente del gobierno
was
de
due
España,
to
Leopoldo
the
Carlos
joint
Sotelo,
effort
y
of the
del
then
que era
President of the
secretario
Government
general
of
de la
Spain,
OTAN,
Carlos
Joseph
Sotelo, and the
ambos
then
ya
Secretary
fallecidos.
General of
Así que
NATO,
quisiera
Joseph
que estas
Luns,
primeras
both
palabras
now
fueran también en
deceased.
recuerdo
So today I would like us
de
to
ambas
also
personas, como
remember
también
them
para el
together
presidente
with
Adolfo Suárez.
President
Pero la joven democracia que éramos
Adolfo
demandaba algo
Suárez.
más.
But the young
Era,
democracy
en primer
that we
lugar,
were
necesario hacer un
wanted
reconocimiento
more.
del intenso
We
debate
first
que había en la
had to
sociedad española
recognize the
entonces
heated
sobre la
debate
propia
in Spanish
entrada
society
y los
about
términos de la
the
participación de
joining
España en la
of
organización.
NATO and the terms
Y fue el
under which
presidente
Spain
Felipe
would
González el
participate
que,
in NATO.
con
And it was
valentía, con coraje,
President
asumió el
González
reto,
who
planteando a la ciudadanía la
very
conveniencia
bravely
de permanecer
took
en la
on the
Alianza
challenge of
Atlántica
asking our
mediante un
citizens
referéndum
for their
consultivo.
opinion about staying in the
El
alliance with a
resultado,
referendum.
más de un
The outcome,
52%
more
de
than
votos a favor
52%
de la
of votes
permanencia,
in favor of
convirtió a
staying
nuestro país, a España,
made Spain
en el primer país
the first
perteneciente a la OTAN
NATO
por decisión
country
popular,
that had decided to join it
legitimando
by
definitivamente el
popular
ingreso de España
vote,
que hoy estamos
legitimating
España quiso decidir
our
por sí misma,
entry,
y lo que
the entry
decidió fue
that
algo
today
muy
we
sencillo,
commemorate.
es
And Spain
el regreso de España
wanted to decide
al
on its
espacio
own,
natural,
and it decided
que
something that was
pertenecía al
very
orden
simple,
mundial.
to
Un
return
espacio
to
de seguridad,
our
progreso,
natural
un espacio de
area
garantías ante
in the
cualquier
world
amenaza que
order,
pusiera en
a
riesgo, en
space
peligro,
of
nuestra
safety and
recién
security and
conquistada
progress,
libertad y
a
democracia.
space of guarantees that
Posteriormente correspondió al
protected it
gobierno de
against
José María
any
Aznar
challenge
dar un paso
that
también
would
muy
endanger
importante
our
a favor de la
recently
integración de España en
reconquered
la estructura
freedom.
militar de la OTAN.
Afterwards, it was President
Una
José María
iniciativa
Aznar who
que
took
coincidió
one step
con el
further,
término del mandato de Javier
and
Solana
Spain
como
joined the
secretario
military
general
structure
de la
of
OTAN,
NATO,
implementada por
and
su
it was
sucesor,
an initiative that
Lord
coincided
Robertson.
with Javier
Esta
Solana's
integración,
mandate as Secretary
en concreto
General
el 1 de enero de
of NATO, and
1999,
implemented by his
España se
successor, Lord
convirtió
Robertson.
en un
After this
sujeto
integration, on
de las
January
estructuras
1st,
de mando y
1999,
fuerzas
our
del
country became a
En 2019
member, an
se
active
aprobó
member of
el
the
que hoy llamamos concepto
command
estratégico de Lisboa,
structure
de la Agenda Lisboa,
of
que
NATO.
todavía
In
hoy rige los pasos de la
2010,
alianza,
the
con
new
el presidente
strategic
José Luis Rodríguez
concept of
Zapatero
Lisbon was
dirigiendo la
approved,
participación de España
and
en
which
su
still
elaboración.
guides the alliance under the
embargo,
presidency of
la
José
adhesión
Luis Rodríguez
ilegal
Zapatero,
de
leading
Crimea
its
por parte de Rusia
participation
en el
in
año
its
2014
preparation.
introdujo
However,
un cambio
the
de escenario
illegal
que superaba
annexation
dicho
of
concepto
Crimea by
estratégico,
Russia in
tal y
2014
como se puso de
totally
manifiesto en
changed
la
the
cumbre de
picture
Gales,
for
en la que
which this
participaron
strategic
el presidente
concept
Rajoy
was
y
created,
también el
as was
secretario
as it was set forth at the Wales summit, in which President Mariano Rajoy and Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen were participants and leaders. Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, very many of the protagonists of these last 40 years are here with us today, and I very wholeheartedly thank them for their the effort of coming to Madrid. And this has marked, all this has marked, paved the way, and it will be the second time in our history that a NATO summit will be held in in Madrid, Spain's capital. Spain has lived its membership in a very natural way. It has been most natural. Together, we have taken on, with success, the challenge of modernizing our armed forces. We have known how to use this opportunity with a great degree of commitment and professionality. In addition, Spain has made contributions that have been ever-growing in a very significant way to the alliance, committing units to the response forces and participating in most operations and missions. NATO has helped us to forge Spain's relationship with the West, and especially the transatlantic bond that I think has become even more important today with the United States and also Canada. And in addition, NATO has contributed enormously to a basic public good to which we attach ever-growing importance: safety and security. The democracy of our societies, the prosperity our citizens enjoy, above all, require security, because if not, we are in danger. And all our basics run the risk of collapsing. And these last tragical months, we've seen this with our own eyes. We are confronting what has probably been the greatest challenge to NATO in its recent history, and also the European Union, of such importance to Spain, but in general to the international order we built in these last decades, the atrocities committed in the war in Ukraine, the brutality of the destruction, the unjustifiable death of innocent victims lead us to condemn without all the actions of unreservedly all the actions of President Putin in a violation of international law. He will not achieve his objectives. We have shown him, and we will continue to do so, that our support to Ukraine is most robust and that it will not fail. From the beginning, we have left it very clear that our unity, our cohesion amongst ourselves, the allies, is the best deterrence that NATO has to prevent an escalation of the conflict. Because unleashing this war has been the only way that President Putin has found to put a stop to the legitimate aspirations of the countries that believe in democracy and the rule of law, in respecting human rights, solidarity, and peace. And he's done so for one single reason: because the threat that democracy poses to him, to his authoritarian regime, is all that matters to him. And that's why the enemies of open societies that we, the allies, defend can make the right decisions and define our most immediate future. The first is to preserve the unity of all of us who believe in democracy, in rule of law, the international order that is rules-based and that protect our civil rights and freedoms, our political rights and freedoms. The ties that unite NATO allies with EU allies and many other members of the international community are born from this shared feeling of justice and equality, and express determination with which we are going to defend our principles and values. And also it is essential, therefore, this union to strengthen our security. The war in Ukraine has opened the eyes of our societies, also Spain's. Many people people have understood that our safety and security are not guaranteed in an indefinite way. The worst conditions can happen very quickly before our eyes and bring everything down, our reality. And that is why it is necessary to make a coordinated and daily effort to preserve it. Now, our security is threatened by Putin's regime, and we need to support the Ukraine in a resolved and decisive way. This is the only way to ensure the future of Europe. The world we have built has a future, and it is essential that we reinforce our deterrence capacity, and that requires modern, capable, and available military capabilities that can only be acquired by increasing our investment in defense. And we are very aware of that, but I also know that this is something that we need to convey to our societies, that we do need to make that effort, because the cost of not doing so is what is going to endanger our freedom and our model of peaceful coexistence and democracy. One of the main consequences of Putin's war, contrary to his strategic objectives at the beginning of the conflict, has been this renewing and revitalizing the Atlantic Alliance. In a few weeks' time, we will be holding here what may perhaps be one of the most important and transcendental summits in its 73 years of existence. In Madrid, we will be defining the strategy of organization, the strategic concept for the coming decade, with the candidacies of Sweden and Finland, two consolidated democracies whose contribution to the Atlantic Alliance will be of enormous value. In addition, it will be the time to together promote the 660-degree strategy to project a powerful message once again of unity and complementarity between the European Union and NATO, a union that today is even more essential to the defense of our model of coexistence, because there is no other way. If we want to offer a legacy of freedom, democracy, and peace to the coming generation, our children, our grandchildren, we must make decisions that reinforce our alliance and endow it with the tools and capabilities that are required. And we need, in short, to show our determination to make the alliance a stronger and more effective alliance in the 21st century. The new strategic concept of Madrid is our first opportunity, and I would say that it has been very meditated and reached by consensus to confront and to look at the future with decisiveness, and also in Europe to respond to old threats that we thought in Europe we had overcome forever. I would like to point out that this new strategic concept is not going to limit itself to the conventional military sphere, because of the growing importance of hybrid threats, climate crisis, food emergency crises, and others, and which will go at this strategic concept will go well beyond that. The organization of the summit is an enormous responsibility, Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, for Spain, which takes on this responsibility with pride and being very aware of how important it is. But we also understand that it is a great opportunity to show Spaniards the advantages of having belonged to the organization for 40 years and sharing with it the strategic debates for the future, because there is a long way ahead in the future that we need to cover, and we want to do so together, hand in hand with our fellow citizens who we defend and with whom we share our lives. So 40 years later, those of us who have inherited all the efforts of preceding presidents of the government and secretary generals that are with us here today, we can guarantee that belonging to NATO is fundamental to guarantee what we are, our way of life, our stability, and our future. We, the Allies, have chosen to be on the, we could say, right side of history, defending peace, international law, and doing so out of conviction and with no fear, promoting everything that the Allies, we the Allies, defend, which is a world that is more just, more prosperous, and safer. So, happy anniversary, and thank you all very much.
It is a great honor to have the Secretary General of NATO amongst us. Please welcome Mr. Jens Stoltenberg to the floor.
Your Majesty, Prime Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is really an honor and pleasure to be here today with you to celebrate 40 years of Spain within the NATO alliance. And I would like to thank His Majesty King Felipe for his strong personal commitment to our transatlantic alliance, to our armed forces, and to our security. In the late 1970s, after dark decades of dictatorship, Spain sought a new path, one committed to freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. Values that lie at the heart of the NATO alliance. And in 1982, Spain became our 16th member, proudly joining a family of free, democratic nations across Europe and North America. And let me thank my predecessors who join us today. Willy Claes, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, Lord Robertson, Javier Solana, and Jaap de Hoop Scheffer, who could not be with us today. You steered our alliance through 4 decades of incredible change. From the height of the Cold War to the fall of the Berlin Wall. From the Balkans wars to 9/11. And from Afghanistan to the illegal annexation of Crimea. Throughout these 4 decades, Spain has stood united with its NATO allies in maintaining security across the Euro-Atlantic area, protecting our people and our shared values, and helping to change and adapt our alliance every time the world changed and new challenges arose. With both Mediterranean and Atlantic coasts, Spain holds a vital strategic position, resting at the crossroads between Europe, Africa, and North America. It is both a border between continents and a bridge between cultures. As such, it plays a central role in protecting us from threats from all points of the compass. Your membership in NATO has made our military more modern, more capable, and more deployable. Over the past 4 decades, Spain has contributed greatly to our alliance. You play a key role in NATO's missions and operations. Spanish forces have helped maintain the stability of the Western Balkans through NATO missions in Bosnia-Herzegovina and in Kosovo. They contributed over many years to our mission in Afghanistan, and I thank and honor all those who served so bravely there. those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and their families and loved ones. Today, Spanish soldiers are a crucial part of NATO's training mission in Iraq to help ensure Daesh never returns. Spanish pilots take part in Baltic air policing. Spanish sailors serve in our maritime missions, and Spain hosts the Aegis ballistic missile defense ships in Rota. This shows that together we are ready to defend every inch of Allied territory from any threat, from any direction. Whenever I have met with Spanish service women and men, I'm always impressed by the dedication and professionalism. I met some of them recently with Prime Minister Sanchez when we visited NATO's battle group in Latvia, serving alongside Allied forces from both sides of the Atlantic. NATO solidarity in action. And therefore I would also like to thank Prime Minister Sanchez for his personal leadership within our alliance. Pedro, your commitment to transatlantic security is and remains vital. And also many thanks to your predecessors for their support of NATO over many, many years. In response to Russia's brutal and unprovoked war in Ukraine, Spain is playing an important part in strengthening our deterrence and defense, deploying additional troops, ships and jets to strengthen NATO's defense of Europe. You are also providing critical support for Ukraine with security assistance and humanitarian aid to uphold Ukraine's right to self-defense enshrined in the UN Charter, help end the war and achieve the peaceful solution that Ukraine deserves and we all want. Back in 1997, Madrid hosted an historic summit. Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic were invited to open talks to join our alliance. Former adversaries became new friends. That summit marked a new age of hope and aspiration. NATO's open door and the European Union's enlargement helped spread freedom, democracy, and prosperity across Europe. It was and remains an historic success. Next month, Madrid will host another historic summit. This time, however, the context is very different. Not a fresh burst of freedom, but a cold blast of conflict. Russia is waging war of aggression against Ukraine. Authoritarian regimes seek to undermine the rules-based international order. China's coercive policies challenge our interests, security and values. And China has joined Russia in openly contesting the right of each and every country to choose its own path. We also face brutal terrorism, instability from the south, sophisticated cyber attacks, disruptive new technologies, nuclear proliferation, and the security consequences of climate change. Together, these challenge our security and our democratic way of life. At the Madrid summit, we will chart the way ahead for the next decade. We will reset our deterrence and defense for a more dangerous world. We will deepen our cooperation with like-minded countries and organizations, including the European Union and countries in the Indo-Pacific. We will also be joined by Finland and Sweden, who have just made historic applications to join our alliance. The Madrid summit is an important opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to NATO's values and the vital importance of Europe and North America working together in NATO. As we look to the future, Spain will continue to play a key role in our alliance, because in this age of increasing global competition, our unity is our strength. Thank you so much.
Now it's my honor to invite the secretaries to the stage. Good morning, Mr. Lord Robertson, Mr. Willy Klaas, Mr. Javier Solana, Mr. Ander Fogh Rasmussen. Good morning. Today we're very proud to be celebrating the anniversary of Spain's entry into NATO. 40 years have passed since the historic protocol formalizing this membership was signed. Modern Spain is explained by its determination to position itself within the European institutional architecture. Its democratic transition culminated with entry into NATO and the European Union.